Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid, just coming on to Bitcoin. But the CoinsKid cruise, so Bitcoin is running to a bit of resistance at the moment. Now, I don't necessarily think the top's in, but over the next few weeks leading into September, if we do start to see a lower high from Bitcoin and a higher high in the total 2 chart, it could be a major warning shot that Bitcoin is not necessarily going to hit that 1.618. So we've got to be careful there. And this is why I did say to you numerous times, as Bitcoin approaches this, typical stage of the cycle, it does begin to run out of steam, and it no longer presents an opportunity. So even if it goes from here to, for example, 150k, it's probably a 35 to 45% move, basically. So for me, I'm looking at greater opportunities at this point in the cycle, and this is why, recently in April, I did relay to you that opportunity on Ethereum, and last year on October, I did relay that opportunity to you on XRP. So, I'll always try and find the opportunities as and when I see them. So yesterday there was a beautiful short opportunity using the futures blocks. A coin, everything was dumping, but there was a couple of coins that were pumping, and it was orange, brought to our attention. Up here we shorted it, and look at this, a whopping 18% short opportunity, an amazing trade. Now there is a potential long trade that's building on the futures blocks, and I'll show you exactly what it is before I do dive into the charts, okay? So taking a quick look at the futures blocks, we've seen a rollover in the market. We've got Ethereum that's pushing up into neutral, seeing nice little bounces, to be honest with you. XRP's bouncing quite nicely, BNB, Solana, but what we've got is laggards. Just like yesterday, we got laggards that the market rolled over, and we've seen that dump. We saw a couple of coins. ONT was one of those, and it was brought to attention by the crypto futures blocks, basically. Even here we've got a coin that's pumping, NTRN. So take a look at that. It's in a state of greed at the moment. That could offer a short opportunity for yourself. So basically I'm looking for a long. I'm just looking for something to bounce, basically, and at the moment we see a coin here, Bitcoin Cash, straight away off the bat. So it is actually having a nice little bounce off this bullish divergence, but I think it could roll over again, and when it does, I think that could present an amazing opportunity, because what we'll see here on this pivot point here is a low and a low, and then we'll see a lower low, and we'll see basically this pivot point and a higher low, but we'll see a higher low in the MACD as well, under the zero line, which is really important. That's exactly where your pumps come from. So if anything, this is some kind of little trap that's coming up. This rolls over, you create your bullish divergence where you get this key pivot point, and then down here in the RSI, and then you're creating a multiple triple bullish divergence, which is typical of where these pumps come from. So this particular coin could pump into this god candle back test just there. You got this support, double top drop, lost this support, you never back tested that as resistance. So that would be a TP point for me on the next long on this particular coin. So it looks something like this. This is coming up, some kind of little bull trap, drops again, oh no, all the stops get stopped out, and then it pumps into this god candle back test around about 556, and it could even continue to this god candle back test around a 576. So from here right now, with really tight stop loss, this could be about to roll over. Jump in, add your stop loss, very minimal risk trade, and it could be a lovely little pump around about 4.91%, and again around about 8.55% for Bitcoin Cash. And this is just really simple trading. When you see things in the floor below the MACD with bullish divergence, multiple bullish divergence being formed, for me that's always an opportunity to come back into these god candle back tests. You can trade this on Bybit or BitGet or LBank, it's up to you. All the links in the video description. If you do decide to trade it, don't be an over leveraged degen, don't go with your life savings, and I wish you the best of luck going forward. Okay, let's dive into the charts right now to see what we can see. So keep an eye on this chart, the Bitcoin dominance chart. The ticker is BTC.D. Now if you are looking to use TradingView, or you've never used TradingView, I would highly recommend just getting involved. Just install it on your tablet, install it on your mobile or your laptop or your PC or whatever, and just have a play with the charts. Have a look, see what you see. Like for example, look at the god candle back test when you break down below support. Look at this. So you've got this flush here, and look where we found resistance in the Bitcoin dominance last year, when we saw that big epic move for XRP. So anyone that remembers, here people calling for alt season, but like I said to you, I'm calling for a correction way back there. I think it was around about spring of 2023. I don't see the characteristics of an alt season in this particular chart, but right now we are on the potential cusp of one because of what we're doing. But just there, a lot of people calling for alt season in 2023, but like I said to you, I see a correction, and with that I think the Bitcoin dominance will trend up into this god candle back test, which is where I do think we could see some kind of move up you know, in altcoins, and one of those altcoins we were looking at was XRP. So this little move just there, this drop in the dominance, led to a major vertical in XRP against all odds and expectations. But again, it's just the data. So we've trended up here, we've come up to this range here, and right now we've seen a rejection again, and we're rolling over. So if we take a look, what we're looking for in this particular chart is identical to what we got there. Okay, we're looking for the green to transition into red with a red sailed up on the CoinsKid ribbon on the 5-day time frame, then transition from yellow into red, basically. So green into yellow is a warning shot. You consolidate for a little bit, and then obviously we're looking from yellow into red, and that preceded the big drop in the Bitcoin dominance, which is where you're going to see, you know, Bitcoin just running out of steam, going slow, slowing down, and then you're going to see a major vertical across the board in a lot of these micro caps. So keep an eye out for that, okay? And this is one of the reasons at this point I did relay to you, I don't think the alt season's here, guys. We're not seeing the characteristics of it. I think what we're going to do is come up into this God candle back test, and that's where we could see a major vertical across the board, and we've seen exactly that last year for the likes of XRP and a few other coins. But here we've seen a breakdown, and this is where we've seen the emergence of that big vertical for Ethereum. Here was where you saw the breakdown and the big divergence of that big vertical for XRP. Really simple, okay? So what we're looking for is the true drop in this particular chart, which is your vertical in your micro caps. So for example, XRP's putting its move, Ethereum's putting its move, potential doubles on them coins from this particular point, unfortunately. And then you've got, you know, other opportunities, because if you go back in time, you know, your micro caps, your big millionaire maker coins, where, you know, you saw your 1000x's, 100x's and things like that, you know, was in this waterfall here, a rotation in the Bitcoin dominance into your altcoins. And we don't quite see it yet, so we can't get too excited, because, you know, we could be doing something like this where we're breaking down like we did there, we go sideways like, you know, previous cycle, so we go sideways for a bit, and then we see the waterfall. But the minute we start to transition from green into yellow, from yellow into red, with your red cell dot, then okay, you know, it's no longer Bitcoin season, because from here we broke above in January 2023, we got above, we printed the green buy dot basically, and you've been trending above this ribbon ever since, okay, and toying with dropping. But right now this is the biggest toy with the biggest drop we've seen in a very long time, right on cue with the 4-year cycle theory, basically, that every 4 years from 2021 to 2025 we should see the waterfall and, you know, the cycle top, basically. So we're beginning to kind of print that in this chart, but obviously it's not done it just yet, and this is one of the reasons why I don't necessarily think the top's in until we start to see the big waterfall, aka you know, your alt season, basically. So keep an eye on that. At the moment Bitcoin has been trending up, and the green buy dot has been doing really well, but right now we are toying with losing this, and if we start to see that, wow, hold on, okay, because I'll be looking for loads of coins that are under the MACD printing bullish divergence. I think they're the big plays in this market, so stay tuned, okay, for that particular analysis. Let's dive into the Bitcoin chart right now to see what we can see. So looking at Bitcoin on the weekly time, I'm going to zoom in a moment, but for anyone that's been paying attention to this channel, we've absolutely crushed this market for Bitcoin. We've done incredibly well on our position. We're buying all the way down here in the blood fear depression, because we identified this as a C wave. Like I said to you, I think this is the peak for Bitcoin. We've got the characteristics of the top of that time frame as well. We've got the A into the B into the C wave, and like I said to you, we've got a beautiful falling wedge, equally a 1 2 3 4 5 bump and run, broke out, back test, see you later. You know, we'll come up the stairs, and the target was always the top of the wedge where we found resistance. You know, in the process, in these C waves, we came up impulsively, ABC correction, we had another bump and run pattern here. This is a micro version of this macro version C wave, basically. So this broke out, back to see you later, coming upstairs, and then in recent times we've got the diamond bottom pattern that we identified late last year, you know, and it broke out again. And in recent times we've got another 1 2 3 4 5 bump and run pattern, just like this one, just like this one. So this was an ABC zigzag correction, came back down, beautiful, and right now we're breaking out again for Bitcoin. So in time, obviously I do think we'll roll over, but what I'm looking for is exactly the same thing that happened there in this chart, okay, and we just don't see it yet. This is why I do remain bullish, and I do think that if Bitcoin can turn around, this is where we are, okay. We're in this sort of parabolic stage where we sort of turn around and come up, and at that point, if we do start to see a major waterfall in the Bitcoin dominance, and obviously as well total 2 breaking out, what we're looking for is the end game characteristics of the top, where basically, really simple, if I drop the total 2 chart in for you right now, what you see at every single top is basically Bitcoin peaks, total 2 peaks, comes down, has the same correction, total 2 breaks out, Bitcoin makes a lower high, characteristics of the top. And I've gone through this with you a million times, okay, and we just don't see it yet. We've not seen it at any peaks over these past few years, when everyone was saying that were the top, that were the top, that were the top. we didn't see the characteristics of the top, which I think is coming. So if we can hold this drawdown and this support for Bitcoin, we could be looking at a beautiful move to the upside, some kind of big parabolic move here, like what we got there in the previous cycle, where again we see the waterfall dominance like this, and we see the characteristics between Bitcoin coming up, making a lower high like this, and total 2 coming up and making a higher high like that. Okay, the characteristics of the top with the waterfall dominance, and it's not something that we're seeing just there and just there at the moment, and this is why I do still remain bullish for Bitcoin. It's doing incredibly well. Okay, so I'll keep updated as best I can going forward, but if we just rely on liquidity in this market, which is the reason why we're still bullish there for Bitcoin, it does show we're pushing up in September before some kind of big drawdown. Okay, so I'll dive into the charts with you right now, but what we're looking at is, I think Bitcoin's bullish. I think it's doing really well. Obviously I've not got a crystal ball, I can't see into the future, but what we've not seen is characteristics of the top accompanied with the waterfall and the dominance. We've just not seen it yet, and this is why with the data and the setup I think it's coming. But a lot of people say I'm too moonish or bull tide or whatever, but I'm just relying on the data and characteristics of the top that we've seen of every single impulse. So that was the top of an impulse, ABC, and right now I think we're nearing the end of a top of an impulse, because this thing can't go up forever. You're in 5-wave territory from this bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're pushing up right now in this particular chart. It's getting quite overextended to the upside, and equally what we're doing as well, if you take a look on the weekly, we are printing a whopping bearish divergence. Now last time we saw this sort of bearish divergence was here. You got this high, you got this higher high, you've got a high, you got a lower high, and what happened? We came in for that big whopping correction. So I think just relying on the RSI and the structure and the data that I'm seeing in the charts, I think Bitcoin's nearing its end, and if we have one last push up into that 1.618 fib, around about 150k, isn't it, from the bottom to the top. Currently we're smashing the 1.272 correction, 1414 correction. If we go again, I'm looking at this level here, around about 156k, and I think that could spell the end, providing again we see something up here like this. It does this, goes vertical, comes back down, makes a lower high, but at that point you've got the total 2 that comes back down and breaks out. If we see that at the 1.618, it's game over. Or even if we see it here, comes down, makes a lower high, and total 2 is coming down and breaking out, this was your top. So I keep updated as best I can. Now I've created an indicator called the bull market support band, which will give us clues in the future as well. Let me show you that for Bitcoin right now. Okay, so this indicator is called the bull market support band. You get into your charts. If you're already a VIP, all you got to do is go to the CoinsKid.com and the settings page and just refresh it, and boom, it will drop into your trading view. But obviously if you're not VIP, just follow the process, really simple. The links are in the video description. So this is an indicator. Basically what it is, it tells you in the bottom right corner the price of your bull market support, and if you're above it or if you're below it. And obviously what you don't want to see is what we saw here, where you break down, turn it to resistance, break down, turn it to resistance, and it's only when you get back above it that you can even entertain the fact that you're bullish. Okay, so we come up, we held it, we come up, we're holding it, we're coming up, we're holding it, but you can clearly see this trend is beginning to sort of slow down, isn't it? If you take a look, big move, pull back, huge move, pull back, another nice move, but it's sort of running out of steam. So I think if we do get another turnaround, I don't think there's much room in this market for Bitcoin, to be honest with you. I'm just respecting this. But one of the key things I'm looking for is a breakdown below the bull market support band, where you do something like this, turn it to resistance, and you see a big drop, and you see your 5 waves to the downside. If we see that in time, again, all in on Bitcoin, and I relay that to you. So really simple thing to use. You're trending above it, you're making a series of higher highs and higher lows, which is really important, above the bull market support band. But if you begin to break down and you start to make lower highs and lower lows, then it becomes resistance, short ops, sell ops, swing ops, whatever in time. Okay, and believe me, we will be in that trend again. Okay, nothing goes up forever, and like I've relayed to you, you are in this 5-wave territory to the upside right now. So Bitcoin is in the danger zone, basically. So this is why I'm relaying to you, if we are in this stage of the market where I think we are, the opportunity is no longer in Bitcoin, it's just pure logic. It is in, you're under the radar, lagging altcoins that no one's looking at. So I'll try and identify them and find them for you as best I can. But we are looking at a couple of beautiful meme coins. We've got Fart Boy, which is coiling up. We've got Fox on the Ethereum blockchain, which is an incredible project. A lot of the CoinsKid crew got a nice airdrop for that. They're making a lot of money on that. I did relay that to you whilst I was away on holiday. But going forward, if Bitcoin can turn around and come up, and I've relayed this to you in previous times, we'll see one more push up here, and we are creating some kind of rising wedge. From this point here as well, you got this resistance, you got this sort of channel that's getting tight at the top as well, this range. So some kind of rising wedge, resistance support. If this calls up, holds the bull market support, and doesn't break down below this key low here as well, you're looking at a turnaround, some kind of big vertical wave that happened just there in this cycle, and then potentially what's the characteristics up there? Do we see the cycle top characteristics? So I'll keep you updated as best I can, but at the moment we are on the bull market support in higher highs and higher lows, so technically Bitcoin's in an uptrend and it is bullish. It really is that simple. Okay, so you understand the update. Stay for session, stay tuned, but right now we're retracing. I've got bids on the bull market support band. If it can hold it, fantastic. If it turns around, beautiful. But if it starts to break down, then we've got to respect that we're entering some kind of whopping correction without the characteristics at the top, which would be the first time ever. So again, I can't see into the future. I'm not got a crystal ball. I can't guarantee that we will or we won't. It's just pure data, but I'm holding strong basically. Hope you understand the update. Stay for session, stay tuned. Take care everyone. Back to another update on Bitcoin. Bye bye.